Hi everyone. So I was doing some videos for my Plexus business, and the dogs were being quiet because they're sunbathing and the sun coming in through the window. And I rocked the beach wave today with my flat iron. So I thought I would do a little therapy lunch session with Justine today too, because I have a theme happening in my office. So boundaries. A lot of people, when they hear the word boundaries, they think something super negative like cut off or out of our lives. And that's just really not how boundaries work. As a therapist and also as someone who really lives and breathes the wholehearted work of Brene Brown especially, boundaries are just essential to a healthy and happy life. You must have boundaries with your loved ones, with yourself, with things, stuff like that. And so, yep, boundaries are kind of rules and things like that. But I wanted to kind of give you a whole there's three big metaphors that I love to use with my clients when it comes to boundaries. So first off, so this is the Rising Strong workbook that if you do the Rising Strong intensive with me, which I still have a couple openings and more of them are coming in this summer, we talk about boundaries about halfway through, and this is what we do. So she talks about living big. And so what Brene talks about in regards to boundaries is that boundaries are getting clear on what is okay and what is not okay. But when we live big, that's her acronym that she uses, I live with boundaries, that also includes my integrity. So choosing courage over comfort, choosing what is right over what is fun, fast, or easy, and choosing to practice our values rather than simply professing them. But then also I want to live generously, working from assumptions and intentions of compassion and grace. And so also in the Rising Strong work, we talk a lot about how people are doing the very best that they can. And I know that that's sometimes the hardest pill to swallow. If you want to argue with me about that, I would be happy to go toe to toe with you because one, it's in the research, people are doing their best. And two, as Brene says in the Rising Strong book and in the curriculum, that our lives are way better when we choose to believe that people are doing their best. So when I live with boundaries in my life, I know what is okay and what is not okay. But I also want to live from a place of integrity, choosing courage over comfort, and a place of generosity. So working from assumptions of compassion and grace. So that's what Brene talks about when it comes to boundaries. One of the other biggest metaphors for boundaries that I use actually comes from the book, The Emotionally Healthy Church, by Peter Scazzero. Whatever. So I actually read this book in a class that we have at our church called Body Life. It's just a phenomenal class. As a therapist, I really love it. So in I think it's chapter 8, in the Emotionally Healthy Church, there's this incredible story metaphor that I absolutely love for boundaries. So basically, he kind of goes into this chapter of saying you're walking across a bridge to this really important meeting to your career. So you're so excited about it. It means huge things for you. You're walking across this bridge and you see this man standing on the bridge and you smile and say hello, whatever. It's super casual. And before you know it, he tosses something into your hand. And before you realize it or what it is, you grab it because that's our instinct, is to catch something that's been thrown at us. And you realize then that it's a rope. And he jumps off the bridge. And you're trying to hold him. He refuses to climb up. And your strength is giving out. What do you do? And I remember reading that years ago at this point and just thinking, oh my gosh, that is boundaries. What do you do? Do you go over with him or do you let go? That's a really good illustration of what boundaries are, because it was never your boundary. You never asked for that rope. And in that class at church, we talk about how we all have our own backpack, our own responsibilities and things like that. This all kind of goes hand in hand with the metaphor that I use in my book, And Ever Upward, that I call the empty well. And so basically really kind of working from this place of when I accept my loved one's limitations and stop having expectations of them, our relationship is a lot better. That I must stop going to an empty well looking for water. That there will be people and things in our lives that the water is just not there, that the well is dried up. And this probably means that the relationship has to change. It wasn't until after the book came out that I was working with my therapist that she looked at me and she said, yeah, but Justine, you're not the kind of person that stops going to the well altogether. She's right. I believe that people can change. I'm a therapist. I obviously believe people can change. I mean, I have a couple backup careers at this point, but I'm a therapist. People can change. Change is possible. And so she was right. I don't not go to the well. I'm still going to go to the well, But I don't go to the well looking for water. I go for the bright sunshine and the flowers and the green grass, the fresh smell of it. I go to the well for the other things. And if there happens to be water there one day, I will be pleasantly surprised. But I will continue to do the work, to accept the limitations and to set boundaries with those relationships and not expect water to be in a well that has no water. Stop going to the well, an empty well, looking for water. And what I'm seeing in my office a lot this week is that a lot of people are not asking for what they want and need. They're not setting boundaries with their loved ones, and therefore they are feeling completely depleted and resentful and empty. And when we don't ask for what we want and need, and we don't set boundaries with the people and things in our lives that need boundaries, we are the ones that suffer. And when we don't have ourselves, when we don't have our sacred ground to stand on, no one else gets the best of us. They only get the worst of us. You cannot take care of someone else if you are not taking care of you. So there's my boundaries talk for you today, because my hair looks good, the dogs are quiet, and I was already videotaping a lot of stuff. So I hope this helps. I would love to know your thoughts on boundaries. You can totally disagree with me. Some people in my family disagree with me quite a bit when it comes to boundaries. So I would love to hear your thoughts. Have an awesome Thursday. It's almost the weekend.